So are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Mehta.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Did somebody start recording? Did anyone of you start recording?
Yeah, Mahita started.
Okay. So we will try to understand what Dataproc in GCP is, how we can use the particular service. So this chart is giving a simplified version of all the available services on the Google Cloud, and it is categorized according to their benefits. So in the compute area, we will be using those services, and they are categorized. So this is a like simplified version. I just wanted to understand more clearly. So I wanted to share it with you also. So here now we are at big data. In the big data, we are trying to understand cloud data proc service. So this is the stages: data ingestion, data processing, data storage, and the advanced analytics analysis stage. So at each stage, what services we can use? This chart is showing a clear view. So now here we are at data processing step, and here we are seeing the cloud data proc. So we will try to understand what the data proc does by using this example. This is a pipeline, example pipeline, and here the data proc is incorporated. We will try to understand how it is done. So in this one, the online retailer website application is sending the data to the cloud PubSub, and also the order management system is also sending the information to the cloud PubSub. So the order management system, it is sending the event data to the queue of the Cloud PubSub. Next, the Apache NiFi, it is picking up the product catalog files from the cloud storage, which is already existed, and it is pushing it to the Cloud PubSub. Here, the Apache NiFi, it will parse the product catalog, and it will update the files into the events, and then it will push into the PubSub queue. Later, the cloud functions will pick it up, and it will cleanse, filter, transform the data, and then it is again put into in the another queue of the cloud PubSub. From here, the data is being processed by the cloud data flow. So here the job of the data flow will be aggregating uh, the daily sales of the online retailer. It will process the data, it will aggregate all the data, and then by using the cloud SQL database, it will send it into the dashboard, real-time dashboard, and then we can see how the data is being processed through the output. And later the data mart, where the cloud storage at the step 8 is there, it will take the data from the cloud PubSub, and by using that data, it will again try to process using the cloud data proc. So the difference is cloud data flow will create the new jobs. It can write the new jobs, but the cloud data proc will do the existing ones. So it will pick the data from the cloud storage, and then again after processing, it will send it into the cloud storage. Then the BigQuery will pick it up and send it to the Google Data Studio, where the data can be visualized to. So they will understand the online retailer. Now he will get an idea of what is happening. This is a sample pipeline. Here we can include the cloud data proc. Now it will give some idea for us how we can utilize the data proc. So the data proc is a managed Spark and Hadoop service. So we cannot use the Apache. So this will let us use the available tools either in batch processing, querying, streaming, and machine learning. And the Dataproc automation, it will help us creating the clusters very quickly, and also it will the managing also very easy because it can integrate with all the other tools. We can save the money by turning the clusters off, similar to the uh, virtual machines, which when we want we can turn it off. So before moving forward, we'll try to understand what the cluster and node is. A cluster is a group of interconnected computers or the hosts that work together to support the applications and middleware. So here the nodes will perform same task or different task as we assign. The nodes are nothing but a computer. Each computer is called a node. So the computer clusters, they can be given any task depending on our need. Also, each node is in its own instance. It can run however we specify. So these are the benefits of the Dataproc. Dataproc is low cost. It will be priced with 1 cent per the virtual CPU in the cluster per 1 hour. And it can use the other cloud platform resources which we already use. In addition to this, the low price, it can include the preemptible instances which are created in the compute engine. So instead of rounding off hourly charge, it will only charge us how much we use. That's the other benefit. And it is very super fast, like it can create within 90 seconds whatever the task we give. When compared to other providers, it will be like usually from 5 to 30 minutes, but Dataproc will do the job within 90 seconds. This means we can spend very less time for the clusters, and then we can focus on our data. So other benefit is integrated. Integration is a very powerful help actually, because we will be using in data pipelines different services too. So the integration with Dataproc is made easy because it can easily connect with BigQuery cloud storage and cloud logging, cloud monitoring, and all. So we can create loads of we can process loads of data and report very fastly using the Dataproc. And also another benefit is the management. It is easily managed. The Spark and Hadoop clusters without any assistance we can use easily. It will interact with other Google Cloud Console and Cloud SDK or the other Dataproc REST API. We can easily manage using the Dataproc. We will not be needing lot of tools. It is very simple. We can export. This is the pictorial view of the benefits of the Google Cloud Dataproc. So the cost is very low, the waiting time is less, minimal OPS, easy to use, it is very up to date and cloud native. So the key features of the Dataproc are this is automated cluster management, the managed deployment, logging, monitoring. These are all done very easily. And also they are very stable. The containerized OSS jobs. When we build any job, we can directly deploy it to another cluster. So the enterprise security, we can customize at each and every stage, like at encryption, how it should take or anything, while logging in or at any stage, how we can set up the security guidelines too. So these are all the other features of the Dataproc. Resizable clusters, auto-scaling clusters, cloud-integrated versioning, highly available cluster schedule deletion, cluster schedule deletion, automatic or manual configuration, developer tools, initialization actions, optional components.
Can you hear me? Mahita?
Hello? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The voice is very
So,
low, Sana.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
So, in your previous slide, the automated cluster management. So, which operations we are performing here in clustering?
Here, we will create clusters in data using the Dataproc, right? So the clustering is like nothing but combining few tasks in the machines, and we will do that, right? So we can automate it. We can manage them while logging in how many clusters you can use while processing, or if we don't have much data, um, we can ask we can modify stopping it, yeah, we can automate it how to use and all.
So, are we doing querying? Are we querying the data, or we are doing some other processing here?
um, we are creating clusters. Clusters means like this is like infrastructure. We are trying to make some order of how to use. We don't deal with the data directly, but how to use and all we can define.
Yeah. Okay. And when you say containerize OSS jobs,
Mm-hmm.
what I missed the OSS part, I guess. OSS
Yeah,
jobs.
OSS is operation support system. So whenever we create any jobs, Spark jobs, we can directly containerize them. Directly we can deploy them.
Okay.
We can deploy to the other clusters. Yeah, we Kubernetes engine or to other engines also we can directly deploy them.
Okay. Thank you.
So the security, enterprise security is like we can define it at any stage. How the encryption should be, how the control service controls can be, and the keys also we can customize it using the Dataproc. So this Dataproc can be accessed by using the four methods which we already are familiar while creating the dataset: the REST API, Cloud SDK, Dataproc UI, and Cloud Client libraries. So we can try a demonstration, but we should have the billing account set up before proceeding it. So, so we will start using the command line tool and uh, uh, try to see how Dataproc is performing, and we can get some idea of how we can use it. So a simple Spark job, we will try to create it, the value of pi, printing the value of pi, and then we will modify the number of workers in the cluster, and the steps involved will be creating, submitting, updating, and deleting. So if your billing information is set up, you can also try this. So I'm using the quick start guideline. So before beginning, we have to select a project and enable the Dataproc API. So after going into your account, select a project. So I have already, I selected the existing project. And then using the navigation menu, we can see how it is able to create. Select the Dataproc. So here we will be able to create clusters and nodes. Either we can create the cluster using this one or the command line tool. We will try the command line tool today. So here the code is this one, and in this line the location is mentioned, and we can modify the location here itself and copy the code. Shall I paste the code in the chat box? Is anybody trying?
Yeah, I'm trying, Mahita.
Oh, okay. So shall I paste the code in the chat window or
Yeah, after coming to Dataproc, what was the thing? Where should I
uh,
click?
just enable this one, Cloud Shell. We will be able to see live, so that's why I asked you to open it first. Otherwise, no need. We can directly see create the cluster. So change the location according to yours and use it. So it's trying to create the example cluster, which we have mentioned it in the code. The name of the cluster is example cluster, and the region is US West 2. These two are major things to create a cluster. It was very fast while I tried, but now it's taking time. In the documentation itself, they mentioned it takes 90 seconds, but yeah. Yeah, now the cluster is created. We can see the details of the cluster here. The next step is creating a job. We will submit this job. So here we are asking to give the value of the pi value. This is a small Spark job, and here we are also telling 1,000 number of tasks. Again, look for the location, region, and modify it according to you. he was able to see the value of pi here, 3.14. So we have created a job. Now we will update it. So to update, this is the code. Here we are creating 5 workers in the cluster. Yes, Manjula, the above full is a command.
So Mahita, with that command, I got some error, and then I typed the clear command as you type it. I saw you doing that.
Yeah.
But then what did you change there? Can you
Here
please?
the region, I have put the nearest region for me.
Okay, so you just changed that one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me try.
So here in the documentation, when I edited first time, it got edited in each and every code block.
Okay, so can you just copy that command quickly? What you type it and it worked, because the other command worked for me. So after clear, you typed the one command, right?
Clear, yeah, the same one again I pasted.
Oh, the same one only
Yeah,
inside.
the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. With the 1,000 waiting for job output. Okay, I guess it's running something.
Yeah. Actually, that will work, but as my window is very small, I cleared it. I would have broadened it. If you wait for a few seconds, then it will give the output of the value of pi.
Okay, yeah, it's running something. So I'll
Okay.
just wait for
Okay.
it. All right, thanks.
Yeah, here we are just creating a small Spark job in this code.
Okay. Yeah, I see the pi, the Spark pi
Pi
value,
value. Yeah.
progress and date and all. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So now using this one, we will try to update the cluster. We are giving 5 workers and the region is same. Again, modify the region according to yours.
Okay.
See the cluster, what we have created earlier, it got modified. The worker nodes are 5 now. So we can modify like this. And we also can delete by using similar code. It's still saying waiting for cluster update operation. Yeah, it got updated now. Now using the same and we can delete it. See, it got modified now. The worker nodes are 2. So we can delete using this one. It is asking for again question, yes or no, confirming. It got deleted now. So we can clear all the buckets also. I did not try this deleting earlier, so it's throwing 403 error. Maybe there's no bucket already. So we have created, submitted, and updated and deleted. We had tried these things by using the second process. So I wanted to show you some sample questions. So here the question is, your company is migrating their 30 node Apache Hadoop cluster to the cloud. They want to reuse Hadoop jobs they have already created and minimize the management of the cluster as much as possible. They also want to be able to persist data beyond the life of the cluster. What should you do? So the key points are migrating, reusing, managing, and also persisting. So the Google Cloud Data Flow, it can't be reused. In this, here the Dataproc cluster, it can be used, but the persistent disks, they uh, they will not be able to persist. Mm. For the, I mean, if the clusters are updated, the data will be lost. So this will be not the correct option. Here the third option, create a Hadoop cluster on Google Compute Engine that uses persistent disks. This is also the Hadoop cluster will have to be managed more. So this is also not correct option. The persistent disks is also not correct option. And the option E, this one also Hadoop cluster, right? So it will be having more managing needs, and also the local SSD disk. This will be more faster than the persistent, but here also we will be losing the data when we change the cluster, because we can modify the clusters after, similar to the preemptible instance. We can use this local Dataproc. So the correct option will be create a cloud Dataproc cluster that uses the cloud storage connector. This storage connector will connect the Hadoop and the storage. So this is the correct answer. And I have another question. Here you are designing storage for CSV files. and using an IO-intensive custom Apache Spark transform as part of deploying a data pipeline on Google Cloud. You intend to use ANSYS SQL to run queries for your analysis. How should you transform the input data? So the four options are having BigQuery. Storage types are two, BigQuery and the cloud storage, and the data flow or Dataproc. So we have to choose between those. Cloud storage, they're asking for SQL. SQL cannot be run on the cloud storage. So options are A and B only, BigQuery. And the data flow, in the data flow, the new project, we will be creating new jobs in data flow. So the data proc will be the correct option because they have asked the existing ones. So the correct answer will be B. So this is simple overview for the data proc. Thank you. Any questions?
So, Mahita,
Mhm.
it is basically used for like retail companies or something like that. Because if you go back to your first slide,
The first slide, that's a
yeah.
sample data pipeline.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a sample data pipeline. We can set it up according to our needs and whatever we feel the best thing is um, good for us. Because the needs are different for each company, right? According to the data, according to the needs. So this is a sample pipeline. Here we have incorporated a cloud data proc. So from see this data pipeline is showing from the starting stage to the visualization stage, how we can incorporate all other services.
okay. And ideally, when we create these clusters or anything, the last stage is delete for it, right?
Yeah,
So,
yes.
so when the ideal time is to delete those clusters, like once the job is done, or like how it works, the delete part of it.
Um, we can delete it if we feel that we don't need it, like because it is similar to the preemptible instance. You can modify it every day, right? In preemptible instance, what it will happen every day after the job is done, it will automatically shut down. So you can modify that like that, so that the cost is effective.
Okay,
Yeah, we can modify, we can continue.
okay,
So the good benefit with when compared to other providers, Dataproc, it's very fast and it there are many trials where we can squeeze. We can modify it according to the needs. We can the ability is more in Dataproc, where we can cost effective, especially we can see the mm, needs. According to the needs, we can modify the timings or how many clusters we need, how many nodes, because it is already utilizing the existing uh, storage, right? So in the clusters, so it is already cost effective. On that, we are specifying the timings and all, and still more effective when compared to the other providers.
yeah, okay.
So, Mahita, as we say that the cluster is kind of assigning the task to the system.
Cluster is it's a group of systems actually.
Okay.
So the tasks can be divided. We are assigning the tasks, and it can be divided. Each cluster can be a group of some computers. That is node. We
Okay.
can call node, and these nodes
Okay.
can be doing the same job or different job. We can modify it.
And job means what kind of a job?
The
For
Spark job
example.
just we created a Spark job now, right? So similarly
Okay.
for us like some algorithms, machine
Okay.
learning algorithms. Yeah,
All right.
we can modify them. Like we can ask a node to calculate one type of model, and we can ask another node to get another model. Yeah, similarly for the cluster also we can modify. Each cluster has some nodes, right? So all nodes can be we can ask to get the same job done by all nodes.
Okay.
So we have the capability. I mean, the data proc we can modify according to the needs.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the data proc. Thank you all. Thank you, Tim.